Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Strategy and Technology, a Practical Primer. We are in week 12 with the theme of Technology and Strategy Case Studies. In this lecture, the 59th in this series, we discuss the case of NVIDIA and Bose. NVIDIA and Bose are two companies that have revolutionized consumer experiences. NVIDIA, a B2B player predominantly, has been helping other innovators enhance their products. NVIDIA has been an innovator in gaming chips. Bose has focused just on purity of audio experience. NVIDIA is a globally competitive chip maker that catapulted into fame by powering the new generation of devices. NVIDIA chips enabled manufacture of more powerful and versatile smart devices. It is now focused on building chips that are powered by artificial intelligence. Bose has been a pioneer in building state-of-the-art acoustics in its audio devices. Bose retained its unique niche by deploying technology to continuously enhance the listening experiences of its consumers. In this lecture, we will focus on these two companies to demonstrate that innovation can help firms establish and sustain their unique market positions based on innovation, whether they operate as B2B businesses or as B2C businesses. Let's now focus on NVIDIA. NVIDIA operates in the industry of semiconductors, artificial intelligence, video games, consumer electronics, and hardware. It was founded in 1993. Jensen Huang is the founder, headquartered in California, USA. Its revenue is $17 billion approximately, with a net income of $4 billion. It is a publicly listed company, 18,100 employees globally, with plants situated in the United States of America. Its market capitalization is $757 billion, indicating the kind of multiples which such innovative firms in the digital space, in the technology space, enjoy. The products include graphics processing units, central processing units, chipsets, drivers, tablet computers, TV accessories, laptops, and data processing units. NVIDIA's timeline is pretty impressive. It started its first partnership in strategic relationship with SGS Thomson in 1994, and the first product was launched NV1 1995. Then first Microsoft DirectX drivers were unveiled in 1996. Thereafter, NVIDIA has been on a roll, continuously launching new products. It entered in 2001 integrated graphics market with Enforce, and in 2005 it made a landmark developing processor for Sony PlayStation 3. CUDA architecture was unveiled in 2006. Given its multiple innovations, Forbes named NVIDIA as the Company of the Year in 2007. In 2013, it released the family of mobile processors called Tegra 4. NVIDIA also has been a part of the world's fastest supercomputer build. It powered the computer in 2010 itself. In 2016, it got into AI revolution with Pascal DGX1 and Drive PX2. It also went further in terms of reinventing of computer graphics with new architecture and made a couple of acquisitions in 2020. NVIDIA brought VR gaming hardware to the masses. Gaming is likely to be one leading category of content that helps drive the change. The key challenge for this segment is that VR gaming hardware is expensive, clunky, and seen as something only for the most hardcore of gamers. NVIDIA has been trying to change this. First and foremost, by making virtual reality grade graphics processing capability increasingly available in personal computing. NVIDIA has always been seen as the gold standard in GPUs, and its GeForce graphics cards are loved by gamers. NVIDIA's latest generation of graphics cards, codenamed Pascal, represented a huge step towards the VR availability for the mass consumers. The GTX 1060 was the first entry-level GPU which was seen as capable of rendering VR games. NVIDIA designates such cards as VR ready. NVIDIA's goal is to have VR works become a common foundation for all VR games. And as we look at Metaverse, what NVIDIA is doing is likely to play a great role in the development of Metaverse. Dominating GPUs benefits more than just gamers. NVIDIA holds a dominant share of the discrete desktop GPU space. It saw exponential growth in its vision and thought that participating in this will also increase its revenues as well as market capitalization. So it drove its technological and market strengths in that area. First and core to NVIDIA's traditional business has been the gaming segment, and it has been on a continuous rise. It generated $100 billion in revenues in 2016 and is poised to grow further as Metaverse takes this space in future. NVIDIA was able to capitalize on the crypto mining boom too. The recent explosion in Bitcoin and other crypto prices has made mining profitable. NVIDIA chips would now play a much more dominant role in newer digital technologies of AO, AI, VR, AR, MR, and the emerging Metaverse universe in its entirety. NVIDIA CEO is Hong. In 1993, he combined with two other young electrical engineers to start a company to make specialized chips that would generate faster and more realistic graphics for video games. They saw a wave coming, the nascent market for so-called graphics processor units or GPUs. These chips are typically sold as cards that video gamers plug into a PC's motherboard and derive ultra-fast 3D graphics as a result. Marketed under labels like Titan X or GeForce GTX 1080, these cards can cost up to $1,200. And 2 decades later, they still produce more than half of NVIDIA's $5 billion in revenues. It is an amazing thing to happen in the fast-changing digital world. But despite the surprising resilience of PC gaming, it is not video games that was Wall Street enamored of. It looked for artificial intelligence and deep learning from NVIDIA. Deep learning enables a computer to learn by itself without programmers having to code everything by hand, and it is leading to unparalleled levels of accuracy in areas like image and speech recognition. Tech giants Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Amazon are buying ever larger quantities of NVIDIA's chips for their data centers. There are an estimated 3,000 AI startups worldwide, and many of them are building on NVIDIA platform. NVIDIA also has set up a deep learning institute to support its deep learning forays. The epicenter of disruption. NVIDIA stumbled into artificial intelligence almost by accident, but early on it realized it was having a huge opportunity at hand, and therefore NVIDIA started building chips specifically optimized for machine learning. And in the first half of 2020, AI-related sales topped $2.8 billion. In fact, more than 90% of neural network training runs on NVIDIA GPUs today, universally. And NVIDIA's every breakthrough worth mentioning has been powered by its GPU. Zoox. NVIDIA crafted its drive chips specially for self-driving cars. These chips power several robocar startups, including Zoox, which Amazon acquired for $1.2 billion. With NVIDIA's backing, vision disruptor Trigo is transforming grocery stores into giant supercomputers. The network has learned to see what items customers throw in their baskets. So when the customer has finished shopping, he or she simply walks out. Trigo then sends the store a tally who bills the customer for that amount. Page is a medical imaging disruptor. Page.ai built an AI system that could revolutionize cancer diagnosis. Page.ai fed millions of real-life medical images into its neural network. Using 10 NVIDIA GPUs, it trained the system to detect early signs of tumors. NVIDIA is the epicenter of disruption, one may say. NVIDIA is also opening the door to early detection of Alzheimer's. Stanford researchers built an AI system that detects Alzheimer's disease from scanning MRIs with 94% accuracy. Powered by 6 NVIDIA GPUs, it learns what biomarkers were most associated with early signs of the disease. The powerful GPU AI combination in Deep 01 artificial intelligence is another medical marvel that is saving victims of strokes. During a stroke, patients lose roughly 1.9 million brain cells every minute. So interpreting their CT scans even 1 second faster matters. Medical imaging startup Deep01 has created a neural network which almost instantly evaluates strokes. Deep CT has a 95% accuracy rate within 13 seconds per case, which is roughly 10x faster than the traditional methods. This system was trained on 60,000 medical images using NVIDIA chips. Segment-wise, data center, gaming, professional visualization, and automotive have significant contributions to NVIDIA's revenue. Out of this, gaming is still the bulk, followed by data center operations. But professional visualization and automotive are likely to be new contributors for the revenue going forward in a significant way. The new A100 line is changing the computing world. NVIDIA is trying to alter the GPU and the overall device configuration. GPUs are expensive and they are not considered the right price for performance fit in the inferencing space. NVIDIA aimed to change this dialogue by showcasing how the company can accelerate the entire machine learning pipeline. Its A100, the 8th generation GPU design, is based on Ampere architecture to address these needs. It is a multi-instance GPU designed for data centers. The chip was designed with flexibility that allows it to support both training and inference from a single chip. It can scale to thousands of GPUs, or with NVIDIA's multi-instant GPU MIG technology, it can be partitioned into several GPU instances to accelerate workloads of all sizes. According to NVIDIA, its 3rd generation tensor cores accelerate diverse workloads and offer up to 6x higher out-of-the-box performance. Meanwhile, structural sparsity support delivers up to 2x more performance on top of A100's other inference performance gains. NVIDIA is creating a platform, therefore, with tools to simplify the complicated machine learning pipelines such as recommender systems and offer a framework for conversational AI too. NVIDIA's growth can be seen in terms of 4 phases. 6 months after NVIDIA replaced the industry-leading V100 with the industry-leading A100, the company has already doubled its GPU performance for artificial intelligence and doubled the performance of Mellanox InfiniBand. Then it announced the availability of end-to-end InfiniBand 400G, again doubling the performance of leading network solution. In step 3, the company announced the world's most powerful desk-side workstation for artificial intelligence and HPC workgroups, the DGX Station A100. And NVIDIA is now committed to become strategically a full-stack supplier to demanding data center customers, complementing the HGX platform for cloud providers and DGX for short pod installations. It is also working on a Genome research toolkit. NVIDIA is deepening its foothold in healthcare. After teaming up with Harvard University, it is designing a new AI-based toolkit to help researchers gain more access and insights into DNA. It's called AttackWorks. It can identify specific sequencing data and pinpoint areas with easy to access DNA, meaning functional DNA that isn't surrounded by proteins. Over the last year, NVIDIA has rolled out several health-related initiatives. In September 2020, the company rolled out its automated speech recognition system and natural language processing technology that can transcribe and organize information from a telemedicine visit for patients and clinicians. As a result, the CEO and the co-founder of NVIDIA has topped the list of best performing CEOs in the world, as rated by HPR in 2019. He focused on a single niche when he founded NVIDIA, building powerful computer chips to create graphics for fast-moving video games. It was a very focused strategy, but at the core of the highly expanding entertainment, education, information, and computation segment of the computer industry. As the company went public in 1999 and grew through the 2000s, video games remained as its growth engine. But even back then, Huang, a Taiwanese immigrant who studied electrical engineering at Oregon State and Stanford, could see a different path forward. At that point of time, data scientists were asking computers to perform much more sophisticated calculations more quickly. So NVIDIA began spending billions of dollars on R&D to create chips that would support artificial intelligence and other related applications. By mid-2010s, its AI-focused chips became dominant part of the nascent market, showing up inside autonomous vehicles, robots, drone aircraft, and dozens of other high-tech tools. And this bet has worked out phenomenally for NVIDIA. From late 2015 to late 2018, the company's stock grew 14-fold, a performance that puts Hong in the top spot on HBR's list of best performing CEOs in the world in 2019. NVIDIA's financials are depicted in this graph. They are very robust. From $9.7 billion in 2018, the company has moved to $16.68 billion in 2021, and the profitability also has increased. Now let's come to Bose. Bose is a different kind of innovative organization. Bose Corporation operates in the highly competitive industry of audio electronics. It was founded in 1964 by Amar Bose, with headquarters in Massachusetts, USA. Its revenue is $3.6 billion. It is a privately held company, so not much information is available in terms of the detailed financials. It employs 8,000 plus people globally. Its plants are in USA, China, and Malaysia. Market capitalization again is very high relative to the revenue at $498.5 billion, and its main products are audio equipment. The company was founded by Dr. Amar Bose in Massachusetts in 1964. In 1966, it sold its first Bose 2201 as the first product that was commercially sold by the company. Prior to that, Bose was collaborating with the US space agencies on a number of projects. In 1968, he introduced the Bose 901 speaker, stereo speaker that too, and it became an instant commercial success. In 1972, Bose started selling loudspeakers for professional musicians via an 80-inch tube folded into less than 1 cubic foot of space, and that's how Bose's famed acoustic wave music system was introduced. In 1988, Bose became the first company contracted to provide sound systems for every event at the Winter Olympics in Calgary, Canada. In 1989, Bose revolutionized flying for pilots by introducing a headset that provides effective noise reduction. Between 1991 and 2005, Bose continued to score more innovations. Bose opened its first retail store in Kittery, Maine in 1993, as I said. In 1994, Bose announced a new technology and tool that allows acoustical engineers and their clients to hear the sound a listener will experience in any particular seat in a venue before the building is built or any sound equipment is installed. It was a stride in the design of buildings as well as in the design of acoustics for buildings. In 1997, first automotive usage of Bose ND woofer debuted in the Chevrolet Corvette. In 1998, Bose introduced the new headset X with innovative tripod technology. And in 2003, he replaced conventional PA, floor monitors and backline amps and brought in L1 system to create a breakthrough in live music amplification. In 2004, he introduced the SoundDock digital music system for iPod-compatible speaker systems. And by 2005, Bose brand name became one of the most trusted by US consumers in a market study done by Forrester Research. Bose, however, continued on his innovation. In 2009, he introduced the Quiet Comfort 15 headphones. It was a major advancement in noise cancelling technology. In 2010, Bose introduced the Video Wave Entertainment System, a high-definition television delivering home theater sound from a 16-speaker audio system. In 2013, he introduced Quiet Comfort, first in ear noise cancelling headphones. Dr. Amar Gopal Bose unfortunately passes away at the age of 83 in 2013. In 2016, the Bose 901 speakers were discontinued. In 2017, Bose was voted as one of the 5 most innovative brands for the 7th consecutive year. It demonstrates that the technological innovation, when it is imbibed in a company, it will sustain for the future. That's how the continuous voting as the most innovative brand reflects on Bose's creativity and innovation that has been institutionalized. In 2020, Bose announced that the company would be closing all of their more than 100 retail stores in North America, Japan, Europe and Australia, while retaining the stores elsewhere. In 2021, Bose unveiled two new Bluetooth speakers, the Bose SoundLink Resolve 2 and the Bose SoundLink Revolve Plus 2. And these are continuing to show that Bose Corporation is moving on the path of innovation that was laid by the legendary founder Dr. Amar Bose. The sound of innovation and Dr. Amar Bose are synonymous with each other. No single individual has contributed to the purity of sound to be reflected in all the devices uniformly and in a manner that lay people as well as experts could appreciate the purity of sound. Dr. Bose's definition of research was always very simple. You don't know if it is possible. So with the things that he considered research, you couldn't guarantee success. You couldn't be certain of success at all. His greatest gift, what excited him the most, was unlocking the potential in another human being. The effort that he put into teaching was legendary. He believed in convincing his students. The students had far more capability and potential than the students believed that they had. Over the history of Bose, the profits have always been reinvested back into the company. Every year now MIT awards these research grants. They are called the Amar Bose Research Grants. It is an opportunity for Bose to see and hear firsthand about the research projects that are funded with dividends on the stock that Dr. Bose gifted to the institute. How Amar Bose used research to build better speakers is the stuff that legends are made of. He didn't set out to sell speaker systems and headphones. He began his career as an academic engineer at MIT in the late 1950s. He licensed power conversion and amplification technology to the US military and government agencies such as NASA. He began researching acoustics in his spare time. He and his fellow researchers spent their days working on their government contracts and their nights researching acoustics and tinkering with sound equipment. It's an example of the ultimate personal diligence and innovation. Work on your day job, but work in the night to do what you want to achieve in your field, extending the envelope continuously. Bose did have initial failures that were massive. The company had spent a sizable amount of its government contract funds to hire a marketing consultant who said Bose would sell about $2 million worth of 2201 speaker pairs in the first year. They eventually could sell only a fraction of that, about 30 pairs. Although the failure was hard on the company, Bose engineers kept researching and tinkering until they produced the 901 speaker. This speaker took many of the same principles from 2201, but instead of directing sound right at the listener, it bounced the sound off the walls of a room. That was born the concept of surround sound. They convinced audio dealers around the country to pay up $1,000 each for each one of these. Bose himself also demonstrated the speakers to several of the most influential and respected journalists in the small world of high-fidelity audio magazines, after which the sales took off. The company was always privately held, mostly by Bose himself. That gave him the freedom to plow all the company's profits back into research and enabled it to continue coming out with many firsts in its field. Not many would have taken the kind of failure he had lightly. They would have probably quit the business. Instead, he focused further on making the products better, and he worked on certain core technologies to be able to achieve the mission. That's where Dr. Bose stood out as an individual scientist and technologist who was very differentiated and at the same time very innovative. He was very diligent and he was very committed and passionate about his work. And it continues to grow even in today's convergence times. One of the audio innovations Bose has made in recent times was a strategic shift towards eyeglasses, which are digitally powered. a pedigree of creating high-end audio equipment, be it broadcasting sound or cancelling sound, have always been the top-class products and capabilities of Bose. With Bose frames, he brought that into a game-changing shift, and it provided the consumers with the great experience of understanding what they themselves needed. Provided insights about how consumers interacted with their audio devices. He optimized that experience, and thus Bose developed Bose frames. These are wearable smart glasses, engineered with miniaturized Bose electronics hidden in the temples. And these are smart sunglasses that are no different from the ordinary sunglasses. If you think of the original Google Glass, you will find it was clunky and large. But this sunglass of Bose doesn't look any different from any of the other stylish sunglasses. Audio and optical technology that is integrated in the Bose frames allows you to stream music, take phone calls, respond to voice assistants, or get directions while one is walking, driving, or working, without cutting one off from what's going on around the person. Combining eye protection, wireless headphones, and noise cancelling technology, Bose frames are all about dual functionality, performance, and style. Instead of asking, how do we make the headphone better, Bose asked, is a headphone always the right answer? Thanks to its inventiveness and ingenuity in technology and in branding, Bose zoomed out and zoomed in onto a totally new category. That's what innovation and that's what vision would be at play in an innovative corporation headed by an innovator himself. CX innovation, that is customer experience innovation. Most companies employ product development or operational excellence programs. They are designed to drive innovation in these areas, but they fail when innovation in customer experience is required. According to McKinsey, leading CX companies build greater customer loyalty, make employees happier, achieve revenue gains of 5 to 10%, and reduce costs by 15 to 25%. That's the impact of having customer experience innovation. What Bose did was to have company-wide training like the CX bootcamp that audio technology company developed. It is an effective way to develop the attitudes and behaviors needed for CX innovation. The CX bootcamp was created to socialize insights about Bose customers throughout the company and ground the entire organization on the needs of its customers. The bootcamp was organized into 5 training modules aligned to behaviors such as empathy and openness, and introduced a common vocabulary and standard frameworks that people could draw upon to work together on a CX after the training. There are 7 lessons that we can take from Bose Blockbuster products. First, do pure research. Research is an end in itself. It is not just a destination, it is a journey. Innovations tend to be fragile. The system is wired against them and they are often likely to fail. But having structure around pure research can give innovations a greenhouse in which the level of maturity can be grown. Second, believe in the customers. Bose believed in putting the invention into the hands of customers as early as possible, because customers are the ones who are best placed to judge a product, particularly a new project, and inform what is good or bad about it. Marketing must support innovations. He saw the role of marketing as one of supporting inventions and innovations rather than just cranking up numbers. It is important, that too critically important, to have technology supported by marketing. Commercialization of his noise cancelling headphone technology was a great example. He also understood that it is not always that technology innovation makes a technology product successful. The total product includes much more than the item on the shelf. It includes connections online, social sanctions, packaging, distribution, etc. Another blockbuster, the Bose Wave Music System, had great technology, but its success was due to the innovations around distribution. Noise cancelling headphones were not about cancelling noise. That was the example he got from the most innovative product he launched. He wanted to improve the sound quality and tonal balance of the set of headphones, but only after developing the technology that Bose scientists realized that their real aims were off target and that the right goal was noise reduction. Often, a secondary artifact of the invention matters most in the end. He also believed strongly in listening to customers. He discussed the chief benefit of the noise cancelling technology with his staff, and he also took the product around the country to various military installations and discussed these with the customers, and he began listening to the customers' feedback as well. He also believed that product selection can be instinctive too. He would abandon research projects that won't work. He believed that there is an element of instinct involved in the scouting paths taken during the discovery process. These are the philosophies of Dr. Amar Bose, which are enshrined in his various observations and writings. Bose took years of hardcore research for the development of its path-breaking technology in the high-end audio business. Whenever Bose launched a new product, a demonstration was held at its stores to create a wow feeling for its customers. And once the customer has had a live experience of Bose's products at its stores, they became hooked to them. The Bose stores do a lot more than sell products. They are experience stores, something which Apple has also done, the experience store concept. The Bose stores demonstrate the superiority of Bose audio systems and the better lifestyle one can live as a result of buying their products. Now the world has been changing. Physical marketing is getting replaced by digital marketing. We have many companies moving away from physical stores to online sales. Is it the end of experiential marketing? Bose is also faced with this dilemma. Bose relied on minimum advertising, and Bose products always cater to a niche target segment with high-end features and premium pricing, which needed demonstration. People needed to experience that and buy and also carry the word of mouth. As a result of the extensive research done by its engineers, the company owned a majority of the patents of the technologies it invented. The patent ownership and the listening experience of the purity of sound ensured that the company was in a position to set a high price for its products. However, Bose started facing competition from other more mass market companies such as Sony, Samsung and Harman. They started closing the gap in technology, closing the gap in the listening purity, and market share of Bose started getting eroded, and the profitability was also taking a knock. So the rollback of the stores was a move to boost the profits. Bose announced on January 15, 2020. As we may note, Dr. Amar Bose is no longer there to have a view on this. Bose, the company, announced on January 15, 2020 that it would shut down its 119 retail locations in all the developed countries over the next several months. Bose is expecting that the profitability would increase without impacting the sales. Online sales is planned to be grown through, instead of doing it all by itself, it will rely on brick and mortar retail partners, that is, partners who are engaged in multi-brand sales. Earlier, it was being done exclusively by Bose showrooms. With Bose showrooms getting closed, online sales will be promoted by brick and mortar retail partners. It is also looking at customer acquisition in an aggressive way by focusing on targeted digital advertising. And finally, third-party resellers are being relied upon. Bose has developed a network of third-party resellers carrying their products with Amazon. People will have easy access and convenient method to buy given the spread of e-commerce in these times. These are the measures that are being contemplated by Bose, and they are already under implementation in the developed world. What are the major implications? Bose's success was the touch with the customer at the ground level, and conversely, the touch the customer had with the Bose products, experiencing the joy of the purity of sound. Now with stores getting physically closed, that is under some kind of question, or whether new high fidelity equipment and new high fidelity computing equipment provide some kind of partial answer for this drawback. The second, loss of a suitable venue for the launch of new products. If you are not in the physical stores, launching a new product requires really coordinated high technology virtual launch, and that requires product market champions. In Steve Jobs' times, he was the product champion, and in Tim Cook's time, he is the guy who orchestrates the entire team to make the presentation. So all market leaders have their stores and multi-brand stores, but they are volume leaders. For a niche player, for a differentiated player like Bosch, there is a toss-up therefore, having the fixed costs but the retained customer experience of physical stores vis-a-vis moving to digital format like many others and lose the core aspect of its product marketing endeavor, that is the customers and prospective customers experiencing the joy of pure sound. So nothing can substitute experiential marketing for Bose high fidelity markets. There is therefore the risk of loss of opportunity to educate and impress the customers on its acoustic innovation, particularly when others are also trying to catch up on the acoustic innovation play. There are a few important management insights that we can gain from the study of Bose's endeavor. One, this probably is the only company that has been developed to this level by being a private limited company. It is also the only company where the ingenuity and innovation of the founder played such a big role all through the history of the company. Even companies such as Sony have seen broad basing of their designer talent, designing talent, manufacturing excellence. They all became huge organizations with several SBUs and several innovative leaders all across the organization. But Bose has been one corporation which was almost singularly developed, singularly optimized, and singularly made a leader by one person, Dr. Amar Bose. This is also an example of the persistence and tenacity of a technocrat founder. He started his life as an academician, became a vendor for the military establishments. He found many ups and downs as he tried to get into the world of business, but he never let the failures sink his aspiration. Instead, he understood always internally that he had a USP on his hand and tried to bring that USP very much into commercial production. And it is not that he has looked at a whole range of devices. It would have been a great temptation for Bose to diversify into televisions, mobile phones, and various other things, because the technological capabilities existed in him and in his company. Instead, he tried to keep on doing better what he knew to do best, that is the purity of acoustics, the sound experience, and the ability to provide stereophonic sound or all-encompassing enveloping sound with just small speakers strategically placed was a great achievement which even the giants could not do at that point of time. That is when he brought in those kinds of achievements. So he equated himself with the purity of sound. He focused on a niche. He differentiated his products. We read earlier in our lectures, or we studied earlier in our lectures, that niche to be successful also requires one of the two strategies, cost leadership and differentiation. Dr. Amar Bose did not focus on cost leadership as a driver of growth because he decided not to be in the mass market. He wanted always to be a niche player. But he brought differentiation as a significant competitive advantage as part of the niche. That's how we can see the Bose Corporation case play out in terms of the strategic concepts which we discussed. Not only that, he continued to work on newer areas. He continued to move into arcane areas. His smart glasses were one step ahead of Google glasses. Google became a corporation, much larger, much more financially stable. Yet Google glasses floundered while Bose glasses have succeeded. We may say that Bose glasses have learned from the tripping that Google Glass had. Nevertheless, it is obvious that in terms of the total product conceptualization, total technical depth and the total manufacturing optimization, Bose smart glasses moved one step ahead and helped the company get into an area which it did not think of earlier. That is, Bose kept in step with the fast evolving times. But the question still remains, how would Bose be able to realize the full market potential for the innovations that have been so far developed and that will continue to be developed, and the innovations that will come up in future times with these kinds of new digital age products? And with the closing down of stores, how would Bose manage the full impact of its innovation to be experienced and felt by the huge potential population which is a fan of Bose products in one way or the other, whether they buy the products or not? So it's a great story of individual innovation, individual accomplishment, individual persistence, doggedness, and the ability to create a world-class corporation coming from an academic background. And it is truly inspiring to read, learn, and talk about Bose Corporation. These are Bose financials. You can see that Bose has been kind of stagnating at $3 to $4 billion turnover, and we really need some more push and impact in terms of new products and new generation technologies if Bose were to regain its growth momentum. These are the key notes on NVIDIA, and these are the key notes on Bose. Thank you very much for your kind attention.